Based on the circumstances, it is reasonable to conclude that Ms. Hackman passed away first, with February 11th being the last time that she was known to be alive.
Did Betsy Arakawa really die on February 11th? Well, I really think that the sheriff's office should have waited for them to have gotten the cell phone activity before concluding that, because it's probably likely that she didn't die on February 11th, as it's been publicly reported. Let's get into this. Earlier in the live today, we reviewed some information that is very concerning and inconsistent to what the New Mexico police have put out there, the sheriff's office, about the death of Betsy Arakawa and Gene Hackman. See, the Daily Mail received an exclusive new Gene Hackman mystery as wife doctors claim she called me 24 hours after police says she died. Okay, so let's get into this because you guys are not going to believe this. I question the death of these two even more after this article. And it reads, mystery grew over the death of Gene Hackman's wife, Betsy, last night after a doctor revealed she had called this private clinic 24 hours after the police claimed she died. The Santa Fe medical examiners claim a post-mortem examination showed Betsy died of hantavirus, a rare rat-borne respiratory disease, on February 11th, a full week before her Oscar-winning husband died of heart failure combined with Alzheimer's disease. But there was a doctor by the name of Josiah Childs, Dr. Josiah Childs, a former emergency care specialist who now runs Cloudberry Health in Santa Fe, New Mexico, told the Mail on Sunday that Mrs. Hackman didn't die on February 11th because she called the clinic, his clinic, February 12th. She called me a couple of weeks before her death to ask about getting an echocardiogram, which is a heart scan, for her husband. She was not a patient of mine, but one of my patients recommended Cloudberry to her. She made an appointment for herself for February 12th. It was something unrelated to anything respiratory. So I had to stop and I said, wait, what? He says it was something unrelated to anything respiratory. He had the 2 days before she was due to see him. She canceled her appointment saying her husband was not well. Dr. Childs said she called me back on the morning of February 12th and spoke to one of our doctors who told her to come in that afternoon. Matter of fact, I don't want to put words. Let me go ahead and play the clip for you guys.
Let's move on to February 11th, 2025. Mrs. Arakawa had an email conversation with her massage therapist at about 11:21 a.m. Moving on into the afternoon, Ms. Arakawa was at the Sprouts Farmers Market between 3:30 and 4:15 p.m. Ms. Arakawa was seen on surveillance video at the CVS pharmacy in Santa Fe from 4:12 to 4:20 p.m. She then stopped at a local pet food store at about 4:54 p.m. Her car was seen on surveillance, and the remote control clicker that is assigned to her and her vehicle was used to enter the subdivision to gain access to the gated community at 5:15 p.m. Numerous emails were unopened on her computer on February 11th. There was no additional outgoing communication from her or known activity after February 11th, 2025.
The doctor further tells the Daily Mail, we made her an appointment, but she never showed up. She did not show any symptoms of respiratory distress. The appointment wasn't for anything related to hantavirus. We tried calling her a couple times with no reply. The doctor's revelation that Mrs. Hackman could have been alive for at least a day longer than the coroner has claimed casts further mystery over her death. The 65-year-old we know was found in the bathroom floor of the couple's isolated Santa Fe home, surrounded by pills, with her husband on the floor of a utility room about 20 feet away. His pacemaker shows that he died on the 18th, okay? And a post-mortem examination revealed that he had no food in his stomach and that the Alzheimer's played a part in his death. The 3 dogs, which was in the crate recovering from surgery, died of starvation and dehydration. And what was interesting too, there was some controversy because the law enforcement officers didn't get the breed of the dog correctly. Like they misidentified the dog. So that was the other point of controversy, which I kind of understood that part because like I didn't know the breed. Sometimes you just don't know breeds. You know, you're in law enforcement and you're doing recovery of all kinds of things, right? So I get that. But that I can get. This other part right here where there's a mix up of the days is something different. Dr. Childs further tells the Mail, I'm not a hantavirus expert, but most patients who have the diagnosis die in the hospital. It's surprising that Mrs. Hackman spoke to my office on the phone on February 10th and again on February 12th and didn't appear in respiratory distress. The LA based doctor told the Mail on Sunday medical professionals are all scratching their heads over hantavirus as the cause of death. Respiratory failure is not sudden. It is something that worsens over several days. Like I'm thinking of like pneumonia, right? Like pneumonia, you progressively feel horrible. Like these kinds of viruses or illnesses, you tend to progressively feel horrible because things are shutting down and you're having a hard time breathing. So I'm wondering about this too. Most people get admitted to the ER emergency room because they are having trouble breathing. It's exceedingly rare for seemingly healthy 65-year-olds to just drop dead of it. In fact, no one's heard of such a thing. So Mrs. Hackman, Betsy, was last seen running around in Santa Fe on February 11th, visiting a chemist and a pet food store and a supermarket. And then there's mystery around this $80 million inheritance that was left to her that is possibly going to charity. Okay. And clearly people are feeling some type of way about this. Guys, this news is just not very black and white. I feel like something doesn't make sense. These deaths do not make sense whatsoever. But I'm kind of curious to know what you guys think in the comments about this whole situation. I will see you guys on the next one. Rabbits out. Bye, guys.